messed up, D-Mob.
Yeah. Who's gonna put my kid through college now, huh?
Don't worry. Someone else will come along and take his place. Ain't that right? Look out!
The car came out of nowhere. I barely got a look at the guy.
Just try your best to remember. Take a look at the mugshot. Do any of these guys look like the perp from the scene?
Oh my god, that's him! Hey! This is the rare instance where we're gonna play the second game of a series instead of starting from the beginning. I know some people who really enjoy Def Jam Vendetta will be screeching at me, but this is the one that I played the most and still have a lot of love for. Fight for New York is a direct sequel to Def Jam Vendetta, a fighting game that uses the Aki engine, the same one that's used for games like WWF No Mercy, and because of that, it plays similarly to it. As far as my experience goes, however, Fight for New York largely expands on the gameplay of its predecessor to the point that it's really hard for me to go back and play that one. Though before we begin, I'll quickly let you know that I've played this game a lot growing up, but haven't touched it since those times, so I might miss some things that other people might be more knowledgeable about. And with that being said, let's get into the weird mix of rap and wrestling that is Def Jam Fight for New York. In Vendetta, you played a character in a gang taking over avenues controlled by another gang, and at the end, D-Mob, the leader of the gang, is thrown in jail. Here we start exactly there, with D-Mob going to jail when a random car hits the police car and helps him escape. The police officer is brought to the police station to see mugshots of the people that could be the suspects, and here's where you can start making your own character. I'll already break it down to you, the character creation in this one is not very good. Even as a kid, I remember making characters in this game and comparing them to the ones that my friends made, and they all basically looked the same. Not only that, but creating a character is really hard, as the drawing you create has no resemblance to the final product, or person. You might do a character that appears cool as a drawing, but when you're finished, it has absolutely nothing to do with what you made. It is crazy bad. But from here, we're brought by D-Mob to a place where we can meet the gang. Blaze and Sticky are playing games, and we start our initiation by getting some money, buying some new clothes, and playing the tutorial. You get the basics of the game like running, grappling, and using blaze moves. Whenever your blaze bar fills up, you can move the right analog stick to get into blazing mode. From there, you can use blazing moves to finish your opponent. The way this game works is different, however. Instead of beating your opponent until he dies, he must be finished by some special method when they get to the danger level. You can use the blazing moves, weapons that you get from the crowd or around the level, or depending on the fighting style that you pick, by doing some strong attacks or a strong grapple. And yes, there are fighting styles in this game. It is impressive how much there is to it. You can start by picking one of 5 fighting styles: kickboxing, street fighting, martial arts, wrestling, and submission. Every one of those plays very differently. You actually have to learn which attacks are fast enough to punish your opponent's whiffs, the ones that you can take down an opponent with, how to deal with submissions, which can be very annoying. It is awesome. One thing I had a problem with, however, is that the game never teaches you how to counter stuff. If you're fighting a grappler, for example, they'll keep doing that all the time. At least you can learn it by accident by simply mashing buttons, as you can counter a grapple by punching or kicking at the right time. But what the game doesn't tell you is that you can counter normal attacks. So, for example, you try to hit an enemy and they'll instantly throw you on the ground for it. And even to this day, while playing this on stream, I was really confused as I had no idea how to do it. Thankfully, chat let me know that you must block and move towards your opponent at the same time, and then you parry whatever attack he or she makes. I'm not super good at fighting games, but it's easy to tell that this one has some good depth to a game based on rappers fighting each other. It can be easily overlooked, especially if you're not that much into fighting games as a simple cash grab, but it's honestly so far from it. Remember the fighting styles we were talking about before? Not only do you have those, but while you progress through the game, you can learn new ones, making for a completely new one. So, for example, You can start with martial arts, move on to street fighting, and then wrestling, and you'll have drunken kung fu. Or you can start with kickboxing, and then learn street fighting, and then wrestling, so you end up with Muay Thai. It's crazy. Back to the story though, you start fighting for D-Mob, slowly getting yourself known and bringing back avenues to your control, and at some point, you meet the big villain of the game, the one and only Snoop D-O-G-G, or Crow in this game. He is the leader of the other gang that controls all the territories right now, and is clearly getting pressed by your work. He starts trying to convince you to work for him, telling that you're clearly in the wrong team, but your character stands his ground with D-Mob's crew. Which, to be fair, I have no idea what motivation your character has for hating Crow or sticking to his crew so much, as your character is completely new to this, having no relations to the gang before the start of the game. Why would you even do that for D-Mob, right? But anyway, getting to the Babylon, Blaze lets us know what's up and we can select a girl to be our girlfriend. But of course, not everything goes planned and girls already have a partner. And just like in real life, we must kick his ass to then be with the girl, caveman style. The game even thought what would happen if you lost the fight, and if you do, not only you lose the girl, but you get an exotic girl instead. Yeah, what can I say? This is definitely a product of its time. The music in this game, of course, simply couldn't be bad. Being a game based on Def Jam rappers fighting each other, they had the rights to use a lot of awesome songs. Public Enemy, LL Cool J, Outkast, and a lot of other artists' songs are in the game. I believe that not only the songs during fights and menus are memorable, but also the beats they use from real songs on the loading screens. It reminds me a lot of the loading screens of Midnight Club 3, and it's actually pretty good. It does have only 26 songs, which isn't bad, and to be honest, other fighting games didn't have rap songs in them, but I wish they would have added more, as it can get a little bit repetitive after a while. I think it's crazy how many characters are in the game. 67 in total, not counting the custom characters that you can always make. Like I said, the game is a rapper fight kind of game, but not only you have Ludacris, Exhibit, Joe Budden, but also Henry Rollins from Black Flag, who not only shows up in the game, but is also the trainer throughout the game and teaches you fighting styles and upgrades your character. Or Carmen Electra, which can be your girlfriend. That's about it. So yeah, there's not only rappers, but other guest characters too, and girl fights if you're into that. Of course though, there aren't that many fighting styles for every single character, so you run into many different ones with the same fighting styles. What really differentiates them from each other is the stats. Each one of them has different stats, some being faster, stronger, and etc. Back to the story here, after we finally owned all the avenues, we go out to commemorate with D-Mob giving us the Vendetta chain he has. Unfortunately though, a drive-by happens and we crash our car along with the people who tried killing us. They tried to escape through the subway and we rush after them for one of the best cutscenes in the game. Well.
Say goodbye, bitch.
Uh-oh.
Goodbye, bitch.
Yeah, that was good. When we get back, we find that D-Mob was hit, and we are forced to leave as the police is coming. Some days after, we get home just to get jumped by Crow and his crew. He kidnapped our girlfriend and blackmails us into getting all the venues back to him. We spent a good 15% of the game fighting all over again, but against our own crew now. And after getting everything back, we are forced to do one last duty, kill Blaze. Of course that doesn't go as planned and we finally turn on Crow. The character goes to where his girlfriend is and there we find Stinky Fingers, which if you remember correctly was part of our gang. I didn't mention this, but throughout the game he slowly grows impatient with not only disliking the player, but also seeing him being selected to every fight while he stays on the bench. The last drop was when D-Mob chose us for a last fight for all the venues, so he leaves never to be seen again. Until now, of course. He pours gas around the player's girlfriend and challenges to a fight in the Ring of Fire. After winning, we bring our girlfriend outside, but it is too late. Your girlfriend actually dies in this game. I left the graphics for last in this one, as I think it's not as important, but the game doesn't look bad. But the characters do look pretty cartoonish at times, especially the created ones. Not only they stand out as too cartoonish whenever you're put by another character, but also during the loading screens. They didn't even try. Not only that, but you always have people around the places you're fighting. And holy crap, do they look bad. Like, I get it, there's a lot of people and probably not much they could do about that. Besides making it less crowded, but still, I think it's worth mentioning. Besides that, the game actually looks pretty good, with certain places like the Foundation having a green filter giving you a dirty feel and look to it, or Club 357 having a bluer one with a cleaner look. Venues not only look different, but play differently too. Some have hazards like barbed wire, people holding stuff that will actually help beat you up if you get thrown into it. It's crazy. And finally, you still have the game modes. Get your friends together around the PS2 with a multi-tap because this one goes up to 4 players. You can play 1-on-1, 2-on-2, up to 4 players free-for-all, cage matches, ring out matches where you have to throw your opponents out of the ring to win, demolition matches where you have to destroy your opponent's car to win. And it goes on and on. It is awesome and you'll be entertained for a long time in this one, trust me. We finally go after Crow with our original crew after what happened. Magic catches us off guard, but ultimately decides that he's done with Crow and gives us the gun.
It's all yours.
Oh shit.
Looks like you got a morale issue there, brother.
Come on, man. Ain't no need for this. Just join with me. I earned the city fair and square.
You broke the code.
Fuck the code. D-Mob was always talking that old school loyalty bullshit. You from the streets, you know there's only one code out here that matters. Ride or get rolled on. Hey, hold up.
You ain't even worth it.
Oh my god. Oh no! And that's the last fight. We have to finally defeat Crow by throwing him out of the window in his apartment, and after that, the game ends. Now, there are some other things that are left unexplained, like what happened to D-Mob, who won the fight outside, and other stuff. From what I've seen on the internet, we do get a PSP port, which I thought was supposed to be a kind of a sequel, but it's actually a prequel to Def Jam Vendetta, so that could be interesting to check out. One more thing I wanted to mention is the customization. There's a lot to it. At the beginning of the game, you'll think that it's pretty limited, but the more you play, the more stuff you unlock. Not only that, it makes you want to go back and keep looking at the new stuff and changing your character instead of looking the same throughout the entire game. There's a tattoo shop, a clothing shop, a jewelry, and all of those have different options to whatever they have. You spend a lot of time on those and you get enough money to change it many times, so don't worry about that. In the end, Def Jam Fight for New York is still a very underrated game that, even though it has been getting traction in the last few years, it's still not nearly enough talked about as it should be. Sadly, it doesn't seem like we'll get another one of these. The Def Jam Twitter account has been trying to get likes for a while now by baiting people into that idea, but again, that's been happening for years and years. Maybe someday we'll get an indie game that could do something like that, but for now we just have to live knowing that they turned the series into a rock band game where you can just sing and not even play any instruments. I highly recommend that you get a copy of this one as prices seem to be increasing pretty consistently. And make sure you let me know in the comments how you feel about the game. I'm really curious to see how other people's experiences went with this game. But anyway, I guess that's it for this one. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps me a lot. And also a huge thank you for our latest member, Masari. Being a member is the best way you can support the channel right now. So I'd like to thank all of you that are always helping me keep the channel going. I truly appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.